Well, you know, I said I was going to do it, and I'm going to do it. I've been making all this Indian food, and it's time I make some naan. So what I've got here is 2 1/3 cup of some all-purpose flour, and I've got an empty bowl here where I'm going to have my liquid ingredients, and here I've got a 1/2 cup of some lukewarm water, which is going in there, okay? And to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of my active dry yeast. And I'm just going to put that in there and let it bloom, okay? Okay, now, in my liquid ingredients mix, let's stir it up a bit, but in my liquid ingredients mix is going to go an egg and then some buttermilk and canola oil. Okay. So I think my yeast has bloomed enough. I'm going to add to it the 1/3 cup of oil. Right, want to get all of that in there. And a 1/4 cup of buttermilk. Some people like to use yogurt. I like the buttermilk. And then, of course, my egg. Alrighty. Okay, I'm going to give that a nice whisk. Okay, let's just throw the wet ingredients into the dry. All right, so just stir it up, because, you know, it is bread. We'll use a couple of different techniques here that we normally do for pizza or sourdough or other breads that I might make, focaccia, but it's bread. I'm just going to dump that out. Right, isn't that nice? And I'm going to clean that bowl up because that's where I'm going to let it rise. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of flour down because I don't want to change the hydration here. I just want to knead it a little bit. So like I said, I want to knead it a little bit, but I don't want to really work it too hard. It's a nice dough. It's not very sticky. It's just a little bit sticky. You know, it's not like my pizza dough or the sourdough, but it's nice. All right. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of oil in my bowl so things don't stick. A little bit of oil on my hands. Right. Okay, good. Pop it in there, and I'm going to cover that. Cover that with a damp cloth. Let it rise, and then we're going to make naan. Said it is a little bit cold in my house, so it took a little bit longer than an hour. It took an hour and a half, almost an hour and 3/4. But look at how nice it has risen. All right, now what I'm going to do is just sprinkle down a little bit of flour and take that dough out of there. Right, I oiled it so it wouldn't stick too much, right? And there we go. All right. Now this is different than everything I do with every other kind of bread. Right? Every other kind of bread. But here we go. Just going to roll it out All right, I'm gonna cut it into, I don't know, 10 slices. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Usually I measure it, 4, but I'm not measuring. 6, 7, 8, 9. Look at that. So I put some in some little sandwich bags, and I'm gonna put them in the fridge because I'm not gonna eat all of this naan now, and it's better to have fresh naan. So these are gonna go in the fridge so that I can bake them fresh when I want them. All right, so as I said, I can't make all that naan in one day because I can't eat it all in one day. And I really would prefer to have it fresh than, you know, make it and then warm it up the next day, right? It's always nicer to have it fresh. And here's the trick. I don't want it to be too big for the air fryer, because that's what I'm doing, right? I'm air frying this naan. I'm going to, you know how usually you put a little oil in the pan. I'm not oiling my pan because I don't have a pan. I'm just gonna brush on a little bit of melted butter right on the surface, okay? And then I'm gonna prick it because I want to make sure that it doesn't do that double rise that would happen if you have, let's say, a pita, right? I don't want the pita rise. Okay, cool. And now I'm gonna throw it in the air fryer. And this required a little bit of practice with a little technique. I've got my air fryer nice and hot. And the trick is I don't want it to be too big, and I want to just make sure it lays flat right on that air fryer surface. And then we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it as it puffs inside, right? See it, how it's puffing up? And what I don't want is for it to, you know, just balloon up like a pita. Though it might. It might. Yeah, see, it's doing it. It's doing it. Let's just pop that real quick. Right, we'll just pop it real quick, because I don't want it ballooning up like a pita. I want it to be a nice naan. And we're just going to give it a couple of minutes in there. It's at 450 degrees. Let's zoom out a bit so you can see that. Right, 450 degrees. And I got to tell you, this air fryer is awesome. I'm not smoking up the house by doing it in a pan. It happens nice and quick, and the naan tastes delicious right out of this air fryer. Let's take a look and see if it's done. Almost done. Okay, I'm going to shut it off and pull that naan out. Look at how nice that looks, right? Ready, so there's my butter chicken, and I'm just going to garnish it with a little bit of cilantro. That's it. All right, let's dig in, huh? Let's just try that sauce. Well, good stuff. And here's the beauty of this, right? I don't need to go to the store and buy naan, or here, check it out, right? Oh man, oh man. That is fantastic. I prefer to have all of this stuff with naan rather than rice. And I prefer my naan plain because then I'm enjoying the sauce without imparting other flavors. Oh man, that's some good butter chicken. That is so good. All right, guys.